I met a kid named Alex in the 4th grade. He was, and still is, the first friend I've ever had. We had a lot of common interests, we had plenty to talk about, and we didn't think of each other as strange. But despite that and my mostly hazy memories of elementary school, I remember the fact that I bullied him. He was the first one I ever had, and I would take his stuff, hide it, call him names, hit him. He was the first one I've ever had. I was a self-centered devil child that treated the first friend he ever had like a toy, something for his entertainment, rather than a human being. Today, Alex has low self-esteem and a fragile ego. For the longest time, I wondered why. I wondered why he would pick fights over even the most minor issues. I wondered why he would lie about his achievements as if to impress me. I wondered why he developed this warped sense of the world, thinking that everyone was against him. Then I figured it out. It was because of me. It was because I was a villain. But what or who is a villain? What causes human beings like you and me to become angry, bitter, vengeful, spiteful, even cruel and devious? Why does it matter? Why should I care why a thief steals or why a killer kills? None of these questions have easy answers, or at least any satisfying ones. But as a believer in the idea that life imitates art and vice versa, I'll explain as best as I can through example. With the massive success of Marvel and Disney's Avengers Infinity War, its main villain, the alien Thanos, is an apt example. Thanos witnessed the death of his planet due to a resource crisis. He witnessed the death of his home and people. Because of this, he became obsessed with the idea of finding a balance between supplies and population. So he resolved to destroy half of all life in the universe so that no planet will have to go through the same tragedy as his. Needless to say, he wants to do good. He's just going about it in all the wrong ways. Next, as arrogant as it sounds, let's talk about me. So I bullied this poor kid for 3 years, give or take a few days. Why? In the 3rd grade, I moved from Doral to Charlotte, North Carolina. There, I transferred to a new school. Being a new kid is tough. Nobody knows you, and you don't know anybody. People don't like what they don't know, so they didn't like me. Soon after I arrived, rumors spread about me. Apparently, I had this deadly disease called the Samuel touch. Even being near me was dangerous. As such, I had about as many friends as there are healthy food options on the McDonald's menu. While it wasn't as bad as the abuse I later inflicted on Alex, it hurt. It hurt not having anyone like me, and eventually I stopped liking people too. By 4th grade, I had moved back to Doral. I was happy to see a lot of familiar faces, but I couldn't bring myself to approach them. In fact, I had a tendency of pushing them away. Alex was an exception, but despite the fact that he was my friend, I was afraid of getting hurt, so I hurt him instead. Well, it's not a heroic reason, or even a good one per se. It's just the type of person I was back then. Now, let's say we remove the whole tragic backstory. Say that all you knew about me was that I made this kid's life miserable, taking his stuff, calling him names, hitting him. Say that Marvel removed all motivation and backstory from Thanos, and all you had left was this crazy purple man bent on mass genocide. You probably wouldn't give either the time of day. This brings me to my point. These so-called villains are oftentimes misunderstood. They're, in most cases, heroes trying to do good in all the wrong ways. The United States is a country built on the principle that all men are created equal, but the reality is that some people are born into terrible circumstances. Poverty, abusive families, oppressive governments. Some people grow up not having the same morals or principles as us. While it doesn't excuse all the wrong that they do, it's also not right to ignore their hardships. As the Joker, one of comics' most legendary villains, said, "One bad day. All it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy." That's how far away the world is from where I am. Just one bad day. If we take the time to understand, learn about, and help these villains, maybe our society can change for the better. Thank you.